This is Lessons in the Challenges of Leadership, the series that enables managers to achieve the remarkable. Podcast, video, short reads. Conceived, developed and presented by Siebert Neethling.
How do we best structure communication? In the last episode, we looked at some behavior science concepts to optimize the sender. And this time, we look at our leadership messages themselves. Now, this deep into our series, you wouldn't be surprised to find that there's some good theory behind messaging. Your high school teacher would have said, have a good beginning, a middle, and an end. But there's more to it than that. As a leader, you often have to give bad news. Good news is easy, but bad news can be hard. And I see many people water down their messages with diminishing language. I thought we should just have a chat about what happened yesterday. Or some people might find your approach a bit confronting, so maybe you should just tone it down a little bit. You might think you're softening the impact, but you want improved results, right? Diminishing language makes you look weak and indecisive. You don't have to be aggressive, but you can still be direct and measured. I've called you here to discuss what happened yesterday. It's strong, factual, and to the point. So starting well is important in all communication. Just like I suggested in the previous episode, script how you want to start a tough conversation. Don't undermine your message by starting too tentatively. Now, the behavior science behind bad news is straightforward. Apply deductive reasoning. For example, the contract states that there will be a penalty for late completion. On 14 March, we notified you of work that had not been completed. You have been working on rectifying the issues, but on the project completion date, there were still 4 items outstanding. This has been confirmed by the independent certifier. We will withhold your final payment. In this approach, the person will come to the same conclusion as you, given the facts that underline the decision. It is much better than starting that same conversation with, I'm not paying you the full amount. So with negative communication, give the reasons first, then the decision. With positive news, give the conclusion first and then give the reasons. It is not as crucial as the sequencing for bad news, but it does tend to strengthen the impact of the good news. So, congratulations, we're awarding the contract to you. Your proposal was excellent. Your detailed breakdown of activities was great. We liked the team you put together. Thank you. This reminds me of the terrible structure so many people use for bad news. The so-called sandwich approach. Tell them something nice, then tell them the negative thing, then end up with something nice. I don't know about you, but I find this irritating and utterly transparent. You know there's a but coming a mile off. And the nice closing comments usually seem trite and a superficial attempt to placate. I know all this might seem of little consequence, but if you really want to cut through, if you really want your communication to have the desired effect, think about how you structure your message. There are 4 other ways to strengthen your message. 1. Use storytelling. I have seen this overdone, but more often than not, I have seen it work brilliantly. And one of my favorites is this example, told by the former Commissioner of Taxation. I went to the dentist the other day, and I really dreaded it. I hadn't been for a long time, and I knew I was going to be judged and then undergo some extreme discomfort and a lot of pain to fix the problem I have. But when I sat down in the chair and they reclined it, they turned on a TV screen mounted to the ceiling and showed me a great, interesting David Attenborough documentary while working on my mouth. The dentist was not judgmental. He was just factual and explained to me what had to be done to repair the damage. And he gave me some options. I hardly felt the injection because he did it so slowly and carefully, first numbing my gums with an anesthetic gel and then using a very thin needle. I continued watching the documentary and was almost sad when the dentist finished because I did not get to see the end of the program. The bill was high, but I had been warned, and I knew what was coming. I'm not going to neglect annual checkups from now on, and that is how I want our tax system to work. No one likes paying tax, but we have to make it as painless and predictable as possible. Paying tax is a bit like going to the dentist, and we need to make it as good an experience as humanly possible. I told that story many times, and a few other stories too, and it transformed the system. The second way to strengthen your message is to use visual reinforcement. We all know how impactful videos are, but still images, diagrams, and even text lists are a great way to add dimension to your message. Of course, this is not always possible. An academic paper or after-dinner talk or a political speech might have to be delivered without visual aids. But you could add visual elements through stories, descriptive examples, and visual references like the distance traveled is the equivalent of running a full marathon. I do a lot of work with people who live with blindness, and I have learned to describe visual reinforcement like if you have a typical 2x2 matrix with time on the x-axis and impact on the y-axis, you can plot 4 kinds of risks, those unlikely to occur and not very severe in the left bottom. Bottom right are events that occur often but are not very severe. Top left are severe events that happen rarely, and top right are severe events that happen frequently. And in the company we are discussing, there were a lot of risks in the top left quadrant, severe and rare, and an even scattering of events in the others. Now, of course, the actual image would be better. The third way to strengthen your message is to test for understanding. Ask a question like, I've told you how this company created a customer-centric culture. Give me examples of what you have done. Simple, open-ended questions can be very powerful in enhancing the relevance of your communication, but you have to really listen to the answers and give meaningful feedback. Now, the fourth way of strengthening your message is by doing what I've just done, revealing the structure of your message. I told you I was going to give you 4 ways to strengthen your message, and I did. You can use phrases like, there are 3 things I want you to take away from this, or we are going to explore 2 radically different approaches to this problem, or at the end of this talk, I'm going to ask you how you would like us to proceed. I know this might sound a lot like a beginner's course in communication, but I see so many leaders get even the basics wrong, even when they are good at other aspects of their leadership. And as a result, the inferior ideas of others sometimes win through. If you want to be a good leader, think hard about how you communicate as a leader. So we've now looked at being a better sender, at enhancing the message, and in the next episode, we'll wrap up communication by looking at getting the best out of the receiver. We will look at brain dominance and the role of emotion in persuasive leadership communication. See you then.